First of all, for the candy cane box card, I have the main part of my box card here, the white part, and then the red stripes. This is basically how the stripes come off of your cutting mat. So if you can kind of keep them in that arrangement, it's going to be a lot easier to see where they go on here. This is how they come off of your mat. Although if you're trying to tell the difference between the shapes to see where they go, you can also always look at the PDF document that comes in your download. You can see how they came off of your mat if you need to see that again. And if you're having a hard time telling the difference between these two shapes, one of them is slightly pointier at the top. That one's going to go next, and then this one goes below it, and then this small corner piece goes here. This one's pretty obvious. It's got a little point here. These two are similar, although this top one has a wider bottom than that one does, and then this one looks different. So you can see how that goes. And we're just going to glue them right onto the front of our card. First, let's go ahead and fold where the score lines are. And then go ahead and put these in place. This top point here actually lines up with that corner, more or less. And then just center this in that final space. At this point, if you want to add some stripes of glitter, I did that with my original card. I took some Stickles glitter glue and I put a line next to each stripe. And then you would need to let it dry for a little while. So now's the time to do that. Or you can do it when your card is finished too. It's just not as easy to get to some of those areas. Next, I will put my side and back panels on. And if you wanted to take an ink pad, for example, like this, and kind of define the edge of these shapes a little bit, you could do that. Totally optional. My ink pad seems to be drying out a little bit, but you get the idea. Next, we can close it up with some glue on this side tab here. And then put our bow together. Now is a good time to use some dimensional adhesive if you have it. If not, that's okay too, totally optional. But these are called 3D Zots by Thermoweb. They're extremely sticky and add some nice dimension to something like this. But again, it's optional. You could definitely just glue these into place. So there's our bow. Next, I'm going to take this piece here and position it like this so that it's flush with the top there, or wherever you want to put it is fine. And just glue that into place right there. Then you can glue that on. Next, we can put our tag on. If you would like to stamp on it, you can. I'm going to go ahead and stamp using the stamps that coordinate with this paper, which is the My Favorite Christmas collection by Echo Park paper. Super cute. You could add a ribbon or something if you wanted to. Rub some brown ink around the edge if you wanted to. Very cute. But you probably don't want it to be sticking below this line down here, otherwise it might throw off the balance of your card. So, just like that, very cute. Now we can go ahead and put our envelope together by folding the sides and bottom in. Put some glue on the bottom of these side flaps and glue the bottom into place. Then you can fold your card flat like this and carefully guide it into the envelope. Close it up, and that's it. Next, for the Cardinal Crate box card, I have these pieces here, which first we're going to put together. I have them laid out by how they're going to get grouped and glued together. Just like this. There is one more branch piece that does not go with these shapes. This goes with the cardinal all by itself. So what we're gonna do is glue these together with the branch on the top of the lighter green piece, like this. And then we'll glue that on top of its darker green counterpart. And I'm only gonna be putting the glue right down the center so that we can bend some of these needles backwards and forwards to make it more dimensional and realistic. So let's go ahead and do that for these top shapes. I got a little too much glue up there on the top, but that is okay. So I'll bend some needles forward and some needles backwards and leave some not bent. Personal preference, whatever you want to do, but you can see how that looks nice and realistic and lifelike. So go ahead and do that for this group, and that group. Next for these two and these two, this is kind of the same concept. It's just going to go right on top with glue along the main stem, and then we can add some dimension to it by bending and curving the leaves a little bit. So I'm kind of pinching the leaves slightly. It's kind of tricky because they're pretty small. I guess you could say it's optional. It does look kind of cool if you at least just crease a couple of them, but it's up to you. Then for these pieces here, I'm just gonna kind of haphazardly place the berries on the circles. No real rhyme or reason, and I'm not gonna try to line them up to perfectly match. I'm just gonna randomly place them here and there. And then these will go on the white branch. Next, I'm going to take my cardinal and its branch and put it together by putting some glue on the back side of the black piece. Then for the cardinal's eye, I'm going to take a black pen or marker and just draw a large circle towards the side. And then I have a white gel pen, which I'll use to create a small white circle. Just like that. Next, I'll take my pine cone and bend its little, whatever you call these things, forward. Makes it look more realistic and dimensional. Like so. Then we've also got these leaves and these. So next I've got my inserts, which look like this. Your machine will have cut a number into each of these right here, which I'm darkening in for this video just so you can see it better. You don't need to do that. So if you take a look at your PDF document that comes in your download, you can see how insert 1 looks. So this is insert 1. You're going to be putting this small evergreen, the pine cone, and the cardinal on it. So we can kind of group these together like this. Insert number 1. As well as this branch. Insert number 2 has the next shortest one here with the berries that are going to go on this, as well as this piece here, which is this. And then insert number 3 has this, as well as this one here, and one of these two, just like that. Then the other pieces are going to go on the front flap of the outside. But first let's put together 1, 2, and 3. So for insert number 1 here, I will crease it along its fold line. And put some glue on my cardinal's body just like this. Then I'm going to position this branch right about there, so I'll put some glue here. Next, I'll position this right about here. You can always take a look at your PDF document to see exactly how I have it laid out. And of course, you can change it if you would like. So again, I'm just going to place these randomly onto the circles below them. No rhyme or reason, no matching up. And then place this right about here, and this right about here. Next, for insert number 3, it's pretty easy to see where this one goes as well as this one. Next, I'm going to take the 2 main pieces of the box card itself and fold it along its score lines. This is optional, but if you have something like this handy, it might be nice to crease it a little more sharply. And then I will go ahead and glue these together side to side, just like this. Next, I'm going to take my panel pieces and glue them on just like this, as well as this label, which I can go ahead and stamp on. I'm using the My Favorite Christmas stamp set from Echo Park Paper Company. Super cute, coordinates with my paper, which is from the same collection. Love it. So I can go ahead and glue this right onto the back. And you can also see exactly how this is laid out in your PDF document that comes with your download. Then I will glue this piece onto the front. It's got a very small border around it. Then each of these gets glued on to your project just like this. However, if you would like to add some texture, you can. As you can see from my original project, I added texture using the wood grain embossing folder by We Are Memory Keepers. And my embossing machine happens to be a Big Shot by Sizzix, although there are a lot of choices out there. So I'm going to go ahead and run these through that right now and then glue them on. So that makes a nice touch, nice detail. There's a crank over here that you can't quite see that causes it to go through with a lot of pressure applied to it. This is a very nice embossing machine. There are quite a few others out there. I was just at the store Paper Source with my mom, and they have an embossing machine by We Are Memory Keepers, and it was marked down to half off. I did not get one because I don't need one, but I did tell my friend about it. She's in the market for an embossing machine. I thought about getting them as prizes, but they are kind of heavy, and I'm not so sure that I want to find out how much shipping would cost for a heavy thing like that. So I did not. But at my Paper Source, the closest one to me is in Naperville, Illinois, and they had probably about 5 of them for $50, marked down from $100. That was about a week ago when I went out to lunch with my mama. So now I'm just going to go ahead and glue these down just like this. As you can see, there's a small border along the side. There's a border along the bottom. There's not one along the top. And up here, there's a small border along the bottom. And that's it. And then that's the same as the other side. So that's how I'll be gluing them down. And these are all the same width, just double checking on that. Yep, so are these. So it's been a little while since I designed this and created my first one. So just making sure these are all indeed the same size, as well as these are the same size and these are the same size. So go ahead and glue those down just like I showed. Next, I'm going to glue down these the way that it shows on the PDF. Although, again, you could do yours however you want. But I'm going to just put that there. And the berries. just like this. So this placement is ever so slightly different than my original, but again, you can do yours however you would like. Doesn't have to be exactly the way that it shows in the PDF, or it can be, that's fine. So I will bend these up a little bit, and there's our flap. Then basically this is going to get closed up just like that. Then each of these is going to go on the inside. So you can close it up first and then put them in, or we can kind of leave it open and start to put them in and then close it up. It's a matter of personal preference. You can of course follow along exactly the way that I'm doing it, especially if you're new. But if you've done any of my box card projects before, you're probably familiar with the different ways that you could do it. So I've got number 3 here. I'm going to put some glue on its side tab there and glue this right in. So I want the back of the tab flush with the back of the box and the top of the tab flush with the top of the box, just like this. Next I'll put 2 in just right here, so the back of the tab is flush with the piece behind it. Just like that. And then same with insert number 1. I want it to be positioned just like that. Just right there. As long as the fold lines are all parallel, it's going to fold flat properly. Just like so. So what I'm going to do next is close this box up like this. And then I will carefully put some glue on that tab, glue that into place just like we did before. And let's make sure that it's going to fold flat both ways by gently flattening it out in both directions. just like that. Very cool. So next, if you would like to add a little bit of glitter glue, that's what I did. I had some light green glitter glue that I put on some of these leaves and this light green piece. I also put a little bit on these berries, and I used this pearl pen by Viva Decor to put some little dimensional dots on each of these, which I think looks very cute, but of course is optional. Finally, for your envelope, you can fold the sides in, and goes like this. The top is a little bit pointier than the bottom, and you can put some glue on the bottom of the side tabs and fold the bottom up. When you're ready to flatten your card out and insert it into your envelope, you can do that and just carefully guide it inside and close it up. Next, for the church box card, I've got some of the pieces here. I have this main piece that makes up the majority of the project. This piece, which I went ahead and embossed using my embossing machine, which happens to be a Big Shot by Sizzix, and this folder by We Are Memory Keepers called Wood Grain. So I just put this piece in there and ran it through my embossing machine to add that texture. Then I went ahead and stamped on this little guy, and I've got my two little window frames as well as this back panel frame piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and accentuate the edges of this with just a little bit of ink from one of my stacks of Cat's Eye ink pads by Colorbox. I have quite a few colors of these. They come in handy for this exact purpose of just kind of defining the edges of shapes from time to time. I think it's a nice effect. I think I'll go ahead and do it on this piece too. So that's totally optional, but just something you can do if you are so inclined. That's what it looks like. They're on Amazon, and I don't usually see them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, although you never know. So first, I will fold this piece along its fold lines, and just to get a nice sharp crease, I've got my bone folder tool here, so I'm going to use that to sharply crease it in the direction that I want it to go. That's also optional, but if you have something like that, you might want to do that. Then I will fold each of these just like this, so it's being turned into this shape, and I'll be gluing it right onto itself just like that. So if you're new to paper crafting, a lot of times people ask what kind of glue I use also. This is Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive, also called Scotch Tacky Glue. It's easily found at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Amazon. I personally just like it because it's easy to find, dries quickly, dries pretty clear, and the precision nozzle is kind of handy. But I know there are some other choices out there too that people love. So I'll do the same thing on the other side here. Now I'll go ahead and glue these pieces on just like this, as well as these little windows right onto here. Next, I'm going to take these two pieces, and I've gone ahead and folded this like this. I will glue this onto the front. And then I'll glue this onto the front of my project using these tabs here. Next, I'll take these pieces which I've folded, as you can see. These two are identical. These are identical, these are identical, and these are identical. I'll put some glue on the tab of this piece here and glue this on, just like that. I've put some glue on this. Glue that right here, just like that. Just like this. Just like that. And then we'll join these together with glue in the same spot. So as you can see, those two pieces formed the top of the steeple. Just like this. Next, I'm going to take this piece and fold these the opposite way. And then I'm going to glue them right inside this piece here. It doesn't matter if it's going this way or this way. So you want the top of the tab to be flush with the top of the box here, right here. And also the back of it to be flush with the fold line. So it just fits in there nice and snugly. As you can see, the top here is flush with the top, and these two lines are flush with each other also. Then I'll put some glue on these two and do the same thing. So I'm making sure that tab is flush on the back side here, and that its top comes up to the edge. As well as over here, same thing. Just like that. Next, we can close it up with this long tab here, putting some glue on it. So there we go. Really cute, plain little card. Next, we can add our cute little trees and the wreath. So for the bow on the wreath, it has two score lines on the front here. As well as two here, or you can just fold it like this, that's fine too. And glue it together just like this. Next, you can layer these from large to small or not. Either way is fine. And just use a few dots of glue strategically to glue them together. Just kind of arranged however you think is cute. If you need to add some more glue, you can. If you want to kind of ruffle up the needles a little bit, you can do that. More dimension is usually a good thing. And then glue your bow onto the bottom. Wherever you want the bottom to be is fine. And then we can glue that right onto the front here. So I'll put a dot of glue here and here. And then I'll put my trees together. So all we're going to do is layer them from large to small on top of this triangle and kind of ruffle up the bottom if you would like. Put some glue here. And then I put some glue on the bottom of it, and I'll just position it here at the bottom front of this little stoop. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Next, to create our envelope, I'll just take it like this and fold the sides in and the bottom up. I think the smaller flap works out better as the bottom. It's kind of interchangeable in a way. So to create it, it's just a simple line and then another line of glue. Glue the bottom closed. Then you can insert your card and close it up. So to fold yours flat, mine's still kind of drying. I'll do my existing card. Also, I almost forgot, if you want to add some little berries as well as some glitter. To add the glitter, I have some stickles, which is glitter glue, the fine nozzle there, and I just put a line around the edge. I also put some glue on the little roof tops. And then for the berries, I took this pearl pen. It's the brand is Viva Decor. Obviously it's red. You can get it on Amazon, but you just create a small little dot like that. I did them in groups of 3. And then once it dried, I actually went back and topped it off with another dot because I felt like it was kind of see-through and I wanted it to be a little bit darker red. So you just want to carefully create your little dots. Or you could certainly add some bling if you have some small red adhesive gemstones or enamel dots. That would be cute. Maybe some little Small little red buttons would be cute. You are crafty if you're watching this, probably, so you probably have some great ideas yourself for little red accents that would look like berries, kinda. So to fold your card flat, you can just carefully fold those parts like so. I mean, you could flatten it even more than I'm flattening it. I'm probably being a little bit too gentle. This could probably go either way. I don't think it matters. So there we go. Now it's really flat. So you'll have to hold it in a flattened position while you're sliding it in there. So it closes right up. If you find that yours needs more space, you can fold this the other way and it won't be as wide. So there you go. Next, for the rocking horse box card, I've got some of the pieces here. This label that goes on this, which is the front, and this little accent piece, as well as the horse's body, tail, saddle, two parts of the mane, and this little bridle piece. So might as well go ahead and stamp onto my label. And I am using stamps that coordinate with my paper, which is the My Favorite Christmas collection by Echo Park Paper Company. And I will just glue this right onto the label base, I guess you could call it. And then you could glue that right onto there, or I also think it's fun to add dimension with something like this. These are from Couture Creations. They are 3D foam mini dots. And I feel like there's a lot of choices out there of adhesive, dimensional adhesive. It's a little tricky to get out there. But I think it would be cute for this little sign to pop off of the project a little bit. So that looks cute. It just makes it a little more special, but again, totally optional. Next, I'll just glue this curly Q accent piece right onto the front at the bottom. Next, I'll go ahead and glue this part onto the front also. But I'm going to put some glue around here. I'm going to leave no glue there for the eye. And also don't go all the way down to the bottom of the feet. If you would like, you can take something like this. This is a white gel pen, and just put a very small little dot in the eye. Makes it look like there's a reflection and therefore more lifelike. Next, I'll glue this little accent piece onto the saddle, just like this, and glue it on to the front. Next, I'm going to glue these pieces onto the back. Then for this oval piece, you could stamp on it also, or you could write something like to so-and-so from yourself, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to go ahead and glue that right onto the back in that space there. Then I'm going to turn this over and glue these pieces on the inside bottom. If you take a look at the PDF document that comes with your download, you can see exactly what we just did here, and then what we're going to do here for this, the inside. So we've got a flower, some presents, a little tree, and another flower. I'm going to glue these in place just like this Although I might add some dimension with some of those adhesive dots, but as you can see, it's not glued down, but this is basically how it's going to be. So you can get a little bit more creative and embellish this even more, perhaps with a little bow. You could tie a little ribbon in a bow and put it on the top of that gift. That would be cute. I feel like the more embellishments on this part of it, the better, because the most pretty Christmas rocking horses that I've seen always have plenty of details and embellishments. So the more you can add, the better. Maybe take a look through your stash of craft supplies and see if there's anything that strikes you as something that would be nice to have on your project. I'm going to start using some of my dimensional adhesive. I have these also. These are 3D Zots by ThermoWeb. They're available at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Usually there's only one roll in there. I have two. But they are extremely sticky and perfect for affixing something with dimension, which is usually a nice touch on any project. Maybe some little adhesive gemstones or something would look cute on the tree. I'm sure you get the idea. If you're watching this, you are probably a creative person. I mean, I think everyone is, but maybe I don't know. I don't know if everyone is, but I think everyone could be. Anyway, whatever you want to do on your project is what I'm saying is going to be, it's going to be cool. If you feel like adding something, by all means, go for it. So one of these layers one of these layers is slightly larger than the other. You could put the big one on top, the little one on top. Doesn't really matter. And as you can see, I was kind of bending these in half a little bit, which makes them more realistic and dimensional. And finally, I will do the same thing with this flower. However, it's only one layer. You can put that wherever you would like. If you happen to have something like this, a white gel pen is nice for adding some little dots to these. Now you can take this piece and fold it along its score lines. Put some glue on that tab there. and glue this in place right inside this space. And this is going to go right into that space. Just like that to form your card. Yay! Next we can put our envelope together, which looks like this. You can just fold the sides in and the bottom up. Put some glue along the bottom of the side flaps and glue the bottom into place. Then before I put my card inside its envelope, you can also see I added some nice dimensional dots using this pearl pen by Viva Decor. I put one here, one there, and then a row of them here and here, as well as here. I also had some adhesive sequins. They already had adhesive on them, but you could, of course, affix regular sequins too. I just thought the more detail, the better. As well as on the inside there, I even found a little clock charm in my craft supply stash that I put in there. I added a little bit of glitter to some spots, and that's about it. I also rubbed a very light brown ink pad to make it look like there's a shadow underneath the horse. So whatever you want to do, can't wait to see how yours looks when you make yours. To put it inside, you just flatten it out and carefully guide it inside, close it up, and you're done. For the tractor box card, here's what the page of the PDF for that project looks like. You can see we've got the pipe, which I cut out of metallic silver. We've got some white pieces. We've got this decorative panel, which goes on the front. This label frame, which goes on the back behind the stamped shape. And then quite a few red pieces and quite a few black pieces, which make up the tires. We've also got the envelope here. It shows you how to fold that, but we'll also do that together here in just a moment. So for these red pieces, we've got a couple of large ones and then some smaller ones. So I'm going to put the large ones to the side together and the small ones together, like so, just to get a little organized. The remaining red pieces are here. We've got two like this, 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 and two like this. Here's the panel piece. Mine is, it almost looks just like the others, but it's slightly patterned. Then I've got the seat, which is made up of these two pieces. I've got that background of the back. As you can see, it looks like this on the back of my card. I've got my pipe and my label, as well as some white pieces, two like that, two like this, and two like this. Then I've just got my black pieces. I've got two of these, two of these, two of these. And then 4 pieces that look like this, as well as 4 pieces that look like this. However, 2 of them are slightly larger. So we'll take the 2 large ones and I'll be gluing the 2 smaller ones right on top, lined up nicely. Then these 2 are going to be going on top of this piece, these 2 pieces. And here's our envelope, which I'll just put off to the side for now. These 2 skinny little white pieces are going to go on these parts like this. Then these 2 white pieces are going to go on these 2 pieces like this. And then these 2 like this. So I've lined up the smaller, slightly smaller piece. They line up in the center, but the one on top is slightly smaller around the edge. Then we can put this on, as well as this. So that's how the 2 front tires will go. And then these 2 pieces are the steering wheel. We're just going to glue one right on top of the other, as well as these 2 headlight pieces. They're identical, so we'll just glue one right on top of the other also. Then these will get glued right onto the top of these. If you want to make them match up, you can, but it doesn't really matter how you orient them. And then this can get glued right on top of the other piece, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp on my label and glue that onto its frame. So to do that, I'll get my ink pad out and I'll pick out a stamp. I'm just going to go ahead and use the same one that I used before. And this is from the My Favorite Christmas collection by Echo Park. Nice and handy, very pretty stamps. There we go. So I'll go ahead and glue this onto this piece. Then I'll glue these together the way that I showed. You can get really meticulous if you want and put some dots in the center, or just glue the edges together. Then glue the red part on and then the white part, and do the same for the other wheel. Next, I'll glue these together like I showed, and these and these. Next, I'm going to glue these together, these 3, one on top of the other. And this next part is optional, but if you would like, you can rub either a white or light brown or light gray ink pad, just something that will show up around the edge of this shape, just to accentuate it. Since it's black on black, this will make it a little easier to see, although this ink pad must be getting a little dry because I'm not really seeing it show up here. But if you have something like this handy, or put it on your craft supplies shopping list, sometimes it comes in handy for when you want to accentuate a black shape or a dark colored shape, or for Halloween, if you emboss some cobwebs on something and you want to accentuate them, you can do that nicely with an ink pad like that. And it really kind of looks very similar whether you use light gray, light brown, or white, just as long as you give it a little accent. So I'm kind of lining this up so that each of these little protrusions kind of lines up around the edge there, but that's not that necessary. And then I'll glue this on. And then I'll do the same for the other 3 identical shapes. Next, I'm going to take this piece and fold it along its score lines, such as here and here, there, and there, right there, and there, there, and there. Now go back and fold the ends the opposite way. And it's going to be situated just like this. Next, I'm going to take these 3 pieces and glue them on top of each other, just like that, as well as the same with these 3. So you want to be careful to line it up as perfectly as possible. And the same with the other shapes that are the same. Next, I'm going to take this piece and feed it through. If you need to bend these backwards a little bit, that's okay. But I want you to feed it through this square here. Then I'm going to put some glue here and here on those small flaps. Pull it all the way through. Make it a nice snug fit and glue that right on the back side of your wheel shape. just like that. Then we can turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. So just like this. Next, I'm going to take one of these two pieces and glue that right onto the front here, lining it up so that these little teeth line up. And if you'd like to secure it with a cute brad, if you are like me, you probably have quite a few choices in your craft supplies. And I happen to have some coordinating brads that go with my paper collection here, the My Favorite Christmas by Echo Park. So I'm just going to grab two cute ones of those and pop that in there. And glue the other side. So I'll go ahead and fold all 4 of these, just like this. And then I will put some glue on this, and on the side here, I will glue that down, just like that. This is not perfectly parallel with the back, but as long as you glue one on the opposite side exactly directly across from the other one, then your card is going to fold flat. Then we can use this next piece to glue that there, and then glue the other one directly across on the opposite side. So I'll do the same thing over here. So here are your two back wheels in the back, looking good. Next, I will take this piece here and fold this over, put some glue on it, and glue the seat onto it just like this. Same with this piece. Then I will fold along this very small score line. And put some glue on that small part there. And give it some time to take hold. Just like this. And if you'd like to put some sort of little adhesive gemstones for the headlights, you can. These are from Queen and Company. And fold this as well as that. We can fold this here and this there, and glue this right onto the back. And I'll put a little bit of glue around that circle down there. And glue this wheel on. If you would like to secure it with a cute brad, you can do that. Then I can glue my pipe onto the front as well as this panel. You can, of course, be a little bit more meticulous with your glue so it's not as visible as mine is. And again, just a little bit of glue around that circle at the bottom there. And glue that. Finish it off with a cute brad. Next, I'm going to put some glue on this tab here. And I'm going to take my back piece and I'm going to glue this right onto the back with that fold line lined up with this. That fold line lines up there. And it goes all the way down, just like that. Then I'll take this piece and do the same thing. So again, I'm lining up this straight line here and it continues down. Just like that. So I've glued it right inside the back. So both of those tabs you can see on the inside of the back. Next, you can put some glue on this little half circle shape. And line that up right here. It's a bit hard to see, but you want it to line up right down here and to be parallel with the rest of the fold lines back here. It also aligns with this panel, so if you want to do a careful check, you'll be able to see that it's going to lay flat. And you can do the same thing on the other side, just keeping it parallel and lining it up with this curve right down here. So there we go. So this folds right here also. And basically this is going to get glued together here, and then this insert will go inside. So if it's easier, which I think it probably is, we can start gluing this inside before we close it all up. So to do that, put some glue on that long side tab and make sure it's parallel. All those fold lines are nice and parallel. The back of the tab is flush with the fold line back there. And the top of the tab is flush with the top of the back also. Let's fold this the opposite way, put some glue on it. Glue that right inside with the back of the tab flush with the corner there. Nice and parallel. And then close it up just like this. So there is our tractor. Now we can put our envelope together. So to do that, we'll just fold the sides in, and the bottom is rounded. So just like this. And you want to make sure you're not gluing the envelope completely closed, obviously. And then you can insert your card and close it up. So now to fold this flat to fit inside your envelope, you can angle this seat upwards, make the steering wheel and the headlights flat, and then start to lay it flat. The rest of it's pretty easy. And just carefully kind of take your time, make sure you're not bending something too harshly that doesn't want to go, and then you can put it right inside its envelope and close it up.